GMU president keeps job amid federal investigations, gets salary boost. Imagine a university president facing multiple federal investigations, yet still receiving a pay boost. This is the reality for George Mason University President Gregory Washington, who has been at the center of controversy in recent weeks. Despite the ongoing investigations, the university's governing board has unanimously approved a 1.5% state-approved salary bonus for Washington, bringing his annual salary to $823,452.43. But here's where it gets interesting. The board's decision has sparked a mix of reactions, from praise to criticism, and has raised questions about the role of politics in higher education. As the university navigates these challenging times, one thing is clear. The fate of George Mason University and its president hangs in the balance. The federal investigations, which include allegations of racial discrimination in employment practices and questions about the university's diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) practices, have put Washington's job in jeopardy. However, the board's decision to grant him a pay boost suggests that they are confident in his leadership and committed to supporting him through this difficult period. But what does this mean for the future of the university? And how will it impact the students, faculty, and staff who call George Mason home? The answer to this question is complex, and it's one that has sparked a heated debate about the role of politics in higher education. On one hand, some argue that the board's decision is a testament to Washington's strength and resilience as a leader, and that he deserves the pay boost for his hard work and dedication to the university. On the other hand, others claim that the decision is a clear example of the politicization of higher education, and that it undermines the integrity of the university and its mission. And this is the part that most people miss. The controversy surrounding Washington's pay boost is not just about the money. It's about the values and principles that the university represents. As a public institution, George Mason University has a responsibility to serve the needs of its students, faculty, and staff, as well as the broader community. But when politics and ideology come into play, it can be challenging to navigate these competing interests and priorities. The situation at George Mason University is a prime example of this challenge. In recent weeks, the university has faced intense scrutiny and criticism from some quarters, with some calling for Washington's removal and others defending his leadership and vision for the university. The board's decision to grant him a pay boost has only added fuel to the fire, with some arguing that it's a clear indication of the university's commitment to supporting its leader, while others see it as a misguided attempt to appease critics. But what do you think? Should university presidents be shielded from political pressure, or is it inevitable that politics will play a role in higher education? The debate is ongoing, and it's one that requires careful consideration and reflection. As we move forward, it's essential to prioritize the needs and interests of the university community, while also acknowledging the complex and often contentious nature of politics in higher education. The fate of George Mason University and its president may be uncertain, but one thing is clear: the future of higher education hangs in the balance. And it's up to us to ensure that our universities remain committed to their core values of academic excellence, diversity, and inclusion. So let's get back to work and focus on what really matters: providing a world-class education to our students, supporting our faculty and staff, and serving the needs of our community. The controversy surrounding Washington's pay boost may be contentious, but it's also an opportunity for us to reflect on our values and priorities as a university community. Let's seize this moment and work together to build a brighter future for George Mason University and its stakeholders. George Mason U Board reaffirms president amid controversy. In a significant move, the Board of Visitors at George Mason University has decided to retain President Gregory Washington amidst rising concerns regarding potential pressure from the Trump administration. This decision comes after a vigorous campaign of support from his advocates, who feared that federal investigations might be used as a tool to oust him from his position. The board also approved a modest 1.5% salary increase for Washington, reflecting their confidence in his leadership. "Support our president" was the rallying cry from his supporters, emphasizing their commitment to his presidency. Concerns about Washington's future intensified when the federal government announced 4 investigations scrutinizing the university's diversity initiatives and its approach to handling anti-Semitism on campus. This situation is reminiscent of events at the University of Virginia, where similar allegations prompted the resignation of that institution's president in June. Tim Gibson, an associate professor of communications, voiced the sentiments of many when he stated, "We want the board to wake up, to defend a successful leader, President Gregory Washington, and to protect us as the Mason community from these attacks coming from the Trump administration." A coalition of political, community, and business leaders, along with thousands of faculty, students, and alumni from GMU, rallied to show their support for Washington. They gathered outside the board meeting, holding signs and demonstrating their solidarity. After a tense 3-hour closed session, the board's decision to approve the president's pay raise brought a sense of relief to his supporters. Sociology professor Ben Mansky remarked, "It became very clear that the consequences of terminating a very popular official like President Washington would be quite significant." Mansky further emphasized the importance of civic engagement, stating, "I think that this shows that people can stand up for our public institutions and for democracy, and that's important today." While Washington chose not to comment as he exited the meeting, he did release a written statement expressing his gratitude. He noted, "Regardless of how one views the events unfolding at George Mason University, today's display of unity by the Mason community is inspiring. It is a reminder of how centrally important our university is to Northern Virginia's families and economy. For now, the community can refocus on what really matters most. In just 3 weeks, we will welcome the incoming class of 2025, which is once again the largest, most diverse, and one of the most qualified freshman classes in the history of George Mason. Fellow patriots, you are simply the best. Let's get back to work." During 2 days of meetings, Washington elaborated on GMU's achievements, its standing, and its financial health. Rector Charles Stimson, who presides over the board, commented on their support for Washington's leadership, stating, "We have a fiduciary duty to the people of the Commonwealth and George Mason University. We're going to fulfill our fiduciary duty, and George Mason University means everybody at the university, period." However, demonstrators expressed disappointment when the board also passed a resolution eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) policies from the university's framework. Notably, all 12 board members who voted in favor of this resolution were appointed by Governor Glenn Youngkin,